Carl Jung's cryptic assertion, "For better to come, good must stand aside," distills a timeless truth about the human condition: growth demands sacrifice. At its core, the statement is a paradox that challenges our instinctual loyalty to familiarity. The good here is not a moral absolute but a symbol of the status quo, the habits, beliefs, and systems that provide comfort and structure. Jung suggests that clinging to these, even when they serve us, can stifle evolution. To invite the better, we must release our grip on what we already know, a process that unearths humanity's fraught relationship with change, fear, and the unconscious. This tension between preservation and transformation shapes individual lives and collective cultures, revealing both our resilience and our resistance to the unknown. Human behavior is rooted in a biological and psychological imperative for safety. The brain's amygdala, a relic of our evolutionary past, equates novelty with threat, triggering fear responses even when logic assures us otherwise. This explains why people remain in unfulfilling jobs, toxic relationships, or outdated belief systems. The good becomes a fortress against uncertainty. The ego, Jung's concept of the conscious self, thrives on this stability. It constructs identities around societal roles, achievements, and routines, interpreting any disruption as existential danger. A mid-career professional, for instance, might cling to a stagnant but secure position, silencing whispers of a deeper calling. The ego's mantra, "Better the devil you know," ensures survival but often at the cost of aliveness. Yet Jungian psychology argues that the psyche is not static. Beneath the ego's veneer of control lies the unconscious, a dynamic realm of repressed desires, forgotten memories, and archetypal forces. The process of individuation, Jung's term for psychological integration, requires confronting these shadow elements. To stand aside, then, is not passive surrender but active engagement with the parts of ourselves we've disowned. Consider the perfectionist who prides herself on flawlessness. Her rigid adherence to good performance masks a fear of vulnerability. Only by acknowledging her shadow, the messy, imperfect self she's buried, can she access deeper creativity or connection. Here, the better emerges not as an external reward but as an internal reconciliation, a truer alignment with the self. Society mirrors this individual struggle. Cultures enshrine traditions, laws, and norms as collective goods, often resisting innovation until crisis forces adaptation. The Industrial Revolution, for instance, demanded that artisans surrender handcrafted methods for factory efficiency, a painful but necessary shift that birthed modern prosperity. Yet not all societal goods yield willingly. Consider the resistance to climate action. Fossil fuels, once hailed as engines of progress, now threaten survival, but their economic and cultural entrenchment fuels denial. The collective ego, like the individual's, conflates identity with tradition, interpreting change as erasure. Progress stalls until the cost of clinging outweighs the fear of letting go. This resistance is compounded by humanity's myth-making impulse. We construct narratives to justify our attachment to the good, framing it as virtuous or inevitable. The American dream, for example, idealizes relentless striving and material success. To question this narrative, to advocate for rest, sustainability, or communal well-being, is seen as heresy. Yet Jung warns that such myths, when unexamined, become psychic prisons. The 2008 financial crisis exposed the fragility of unchecked capitalism, yet many doubled down on the same systems, unable to envision a better, beyond profit-driven paradigms. Similarly, patriarchal structures persist not because they serve all, but because they're entwined with cultural identity. Letting go demands dismantling stories that no longer serve, a task as psychological as it is political. Fear of the unknown amplifies this inertia. Neuroscientists note that the brain processes uncertainty as physical pain, explaining why even positive change, a promotion, a move, a new relationship, can trigger anxiety. This aversion is mirrored in societal contexts. The Luddites of the 19th century destroyed machinery not out of ignorance, but from a visceral understanding that industrialization would erase their way of life. Their fear was rational, yet history shows that the better often demands such losses. Modern parallels abound. Automation threatens jobs, AI disrupts creativity, and social media rewires human connection. The challenge lies not in avoiding change but in navigating it with grace, a skill hindered by our neurological wiring. Yet Jung's quote hints at a deeper, more spiritual layer. In many Eastern philosophies, enlightenment requires surrender, a release of attachment to outcomes. The Tao Te Ching advises, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." This mirrors Jung's belief that the psyche's wisdom transcends the ego's myopia. Dreams, synchronicities, and unexplained yearnings often point toward the better long before the conscious mind concedes. A woman ignoring her artistic impulses might dream of locked rooms or stifled voices, symbols of repressed potential. Only when she heeds these clues, allowing the good identity of practicality to stand aside, does she unlock fulfillment. The unconscious, in this sense, acts as a compass, guiding us toward wholeness despite the ego's protests. The role of crisis as a catalyst cannot be ignored. Jung observed that many patients only sought transformation after hitting rock bottom, a divorce, addiction, or existential void. Similarly, societies often require catastrophes to jolt them from complacency. The COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, forced a global reckoning with work-life balance, healthcare inequities, and environmental fragility. While traumatic, such crises create fissures in the status quo, allowing new paradigms to emerge. The better here is not a utopian ideal but a more resilient, conscious way of being. Yet Jung's quote challenges us to not wait for disaster. Proactive surrender, voluntarily releasing the good, is the hallmark of psychological maturity. This journey is fraught with paradox. Letting go does not mean rejecting all tradition or plunging into chaos. It demands discernment, recognizing when the good has become a limiting script versus when it remains a foundation. A musician mastering scales must eventually improvise, blending discipline with spontaneity. Likewise, societal progress requires balancing innovation with continuity. The European Renaissance, for instance, revered classical knowledge while pioneering new art and science. This dance between preservation and innovation is the essence of cultural evolution. Ultimately, Jung's wisdom speaks to the courage of impermanence. The good is often a monument to our past selves, a testament to what we've survived or achieved. But life is flux, and monuments, however grand, can become mausoleums. The artist who clings to early acclaim risks creative stagnation. The nation that idolizes its history risks moral complacency. Letting go is an act of humility, an acknowledgement that growth transcends the individual ego. It requires faith in the psyche's telos, its intrinsic movement toward wholeness. In a world obsessed with optimization and control, Jung's words are a radical invitation to trust the unknown, to embrace uncertainty as fertile ground, and to recognize that the better is not a distant prize but a potential already pulsing beneath the surface of the good. The task is not to destroy what exists but to release our death grip on it, allowing space for transformation. This is the alchemy of human behavior, the moment when fear gives way to curiosity, and the ego's whisper, "What if I lose?" is answered by the soul's reply, "What if you gain?"